everybody to the Art of Living Well podcast. This is our inaugural podcast. My name is Liv Hill. I am the owner and founder of the Art of Living Well. And today my guests are Marco and Crystal Roldan Leben, and they are here to talk about their coaching journey. They're here to talk about how coaching has impacted their life. And so we're going to jump in today and have some conversation. So welcome, Marco and Crystal. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Here. Yes.
All right. Y'all scoot in close now so we can see you both. Okay, there we go. How long have y'all been married?
13 years.
13 years. And how many kids?
We have 3 boys.
3 boys.
Boy, mom.
Mm-hmm. Forever and always.
Forever and always. So you got a lot going on. And you homeschool too, is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about coaching. You guys are doing nutrition coaching as a couple, which is, I think, a lot of fun because you all are able to encourage each other, kind of stay on goals together. And so let's just talk a little bit about what brought you to coaching, and we'll just kind of get into your journey.
Okay. I have struggled with my weight for a really, really long time. I've always been looking for different things. And, Marco and I actually found Liv on another podcast. We were driving in the car one day. I think I was driving, actually, which doesn't happen often. We're listening to that podcast and just something that, Liv said just kind of struck me. And I think that he saw it. He could just see that, the gears turning in my head. And he was like, we should message her, huh? And I was like, yes, please. Yeah. I'm like, I need to do something, right? So that was how we found Liv. And it took, I don't know, maybe just a couple of months. And I convinced him, we do everything together, absolutely everything together. So I'm like, I do better with you, so let's do this together and both be successful.
And that's worked out really well. You guys having each other, holding each other accountable. Yeah. So Marco, talk a little bit about what she was saying to you or what you saw in her, and you were like, okay, let's jump, let's get in.
We've kind of both been struggling with always choosing what to eat, deciding what we're going to eat. And for a while, we've just been tired of we're just tired of eating the same thing over and over again. I know we've tried different things. We've tried different avenues, different programs that people advertised. And when that caught her attention, it was just one of those where, my husbandly instinct kicked in. It's okay, that got her attention. I know. So I guess we're going to move forward from here.
Yeah. So we've moved forward, and so we got you guys together, both in coaching. And so, Crystal, if you want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've been doing or some of the ahas that you've had along the way, we can kind of get into some of that and what's been working well for you.
I think for me personally, I do very well when I have someone holding me accountable. So I've done different things, throughout the years. And most of the time, it's just me holding myself accountable. Once in a while, I tried using Facebook or social media to kind of keep me accountable. But for me personally, having that one-on-one coaching is something that just, it sticks out more than anything else because there's a physical person that I can talk to, that I can relate to. I know whenever we talk, we can talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
And I think that really helps keep me in a place where I know I can be successful. I think as far as aha moments, I might not have even realized how much I really actually needed that accountability. So that definitely has been an aha for me. Working with you and then keeping me accountable, I think that it kind of translates to the two of us because I think sometimes the mom in me comes out probably when it shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's a line there that gets blurred between wife and mom. I don't know. But I'm no, we're doing this. And just little things will kind of, I don't know, with snacks or different things, it pops out. But I think another aha moment for me is being able to see like where I can actually go, like the things that I'm capable of doing, the things that I thought would never happen, things that I thought, no, that's not for me. I can't do those things. It's great for people who can, but that's probably not me.
Yeah.
But to see myself now where I am, it's just incredible to see that maybe 2 or 3 years ago I probably wouldn't have been able to, but working with you and having that accountability definitely has helped and proven to myself what I am capable of doing.
Yes.
So
I love that. I love that. You're right, Crystal. And so we do. So Crystal and I get on the phone and do our check-ins, and Marco and I too. We usually do them separate. But having that accountability has helped you in the way that it is not like a generic how'd things go this week? Okay, talk to you later type of situation. We get down deep in the weeds. We don't get super personal, but we do. We talk about, hey, do you have revival this week? What do we have going on? And we've been able to kind of meal prep and plan and get some plans in place in general around what's happening in your life. And I feel like that has been really instrumental in helping you guys make the progress that you've been able to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Marco, you want to talk a little bit about how you've been able to keep each other accountable? You guys do Bible quizzing, so their kids are Bible quizzing superstars, and so I think like making pit stops and going to different restaurants, and you guys holding each other accountable. Kind of talk a little bit about how you've been able to still do your ministry work, Bible quizzing, and then also working at the church. You guys are there so many nights a week, and finding that. I don't want to give it all away, but maybe talking about what lifestyle was like before and what lifestyle is like now. And ministry has not slipped and fallen during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, we were very busy in the ministry. We are youth leaders in the church, and then picked up Bible quizzing. So this is our first year that our church is doing Bible quizzing. So every Friday we try to do like a training, practice, and then we have we have prayer Mondays, we have music practice every second Tuesday of the month. We have leadership meeting once a month, and then just everything else that goes on daily life. Mm-hmm. And for most of those, like before we even met you, like our daily life was like, okay, that's done. Let's go get fast food.
Yeah.
And, that's easy, quick, put the boys to bed, and the day starts over again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But after that, we realized, after speaking with you, getting things situated in our lives, and you directing us and helping us through things, we realized that, meal prepping or coming up with recipes, making something at home after something is not as difficult as we imagined it would be. Because we're thinking, like, I'm used to my little bit of background is my family. My parents, I was raised with them cooking at home every single night, but they would take like 1 to 2 to sometimes 3 hours to prep a meal.
Yeah.
So that was like how I pictured like meal prepping is. And sometimes she always tells me, you're not starting right now because we have something in 3 hours and you're not going to get done in time.
Yeah, because she's like, Marco's cooking dinner, and I'm like, Lord, what's it going to be? Because it's going to be something good and extravagant, and he's always got like amazing sauce or something ready. So that's the background that you grew up with. It's like, if we're cooking, baby, we're cooking.
And his parents too, I'll add, his parents didn't eat dinner until 9-10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Just normally.
Yeah, that's normal. And then when we were there this past Christmas time, like sometimes we didn't eat until 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
But like after like you going with Crystal or talking with Crystal and meal prepping and and coming up with recipes throughout the week, we got to a point where we're making recipes Monday through Friday, or at least having something down and using something as leftovers, and not having to go out to eat anymore. And but not only that, but like not making a 1, 2, 3 hour prepping for a meal, but taking it down to like maybe 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that helps so much in like realizing what we can make, because there's still really good food to make in that.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because everything is not like like it can be quick, and foods do you enjoy. It's not chicken and rice and broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were
So
you saying?
if I can add to that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's embarrassing to admit, but we would eat out. I don't even know, like thinking back to it, like I don't know how we could afford it having 5 people in our family. But it was normal to eat out like every night of the week. Sometimes twice on Sunday. Like it just
Lunches too.
and sometimes even for lunches, and
Duck and run.
especially since the kids started homeschooling, like that was a huge thing for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're at home. They get tired of peanut butter and jelly real fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to make. But, that was another adding to the aha moment. We were eating out so often. And I know when we first started working together, it was like, okay, let's just cut it down to maybe 3 meals a night at home.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's simple. We can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a huge life change for us. Like, I know growing up, I didn't grow up going out to eat either. My parents did not. If we got to go to McDonald's or like Taco Bell or something after church, that was huge for us. We were so excited.
Yeah.
And our boys were tired of going out to eat. Like, again, kind of embarrassing to admit, but they would be like, oh, can we just eat something at home?
Yeah.
I know part of it was like they just wanted to be at home to like watch a movie or play a game or do something. But still, like as a parent, that was kind of like a dagger in my heart. And I'm like, oh, when I was little, I was begging my parents to go out to eat, and my kids are begging me to eat at home.
Right.
So that was huge. And now, like he said, we've been able to kind of get it down. We still will go out to eat once in a while. We had a funny story. We had one night, I think we had prayer or something.
Yes, tell the story. I know what you're going to tell.
we were going to go home and make food, and Marco was like, oh, let's just go to McDonald's. I'm like, no, we have this. I know what I'm making.
Okay.
We're going home.
First, I want to clarify, it's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
It's usually her saying, let's just go to McDonald's.
Yes.
I
And
remember
I
that
was like,
you were on a streak. We'd been like on the longest streak of like eating meals. And so you were like, go ahead, you tell it. It's just so good.
yeah, I'm like, I'm not ending this. Like, no, we've been doing so good. And we came home, and I don't even remember everything that happened. I think we ran out of something, and Marco had to go to the store.
You sent him out to the store. You sent him out to the store. You were like, we're out of this ingredient. Go to the store.
Yeah.
Like, still not go get something to eat, like fast food.
Yeah, and I was like, I made something. I don't know. I did something in the air fryer. It was like it was like 3 or 4
sweet potatoes
like things. Yes, and I burnt it. It tasted like fish. It was disgusting. And finally, at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. Just go get the McDonald's.
We tried 2 different menu ideas.
We did.
I remember. And I remember we got on the phone and you're like, I'm just going to tell you we ate McDonald's, but I'm going to tell you everything else that happened before that.
Yeah.
But to that point, you definitely tried. And then also, just like, we won't get into a whole lot of this on this because you guys don't battle through that, but somebody will. Like, there was no like guilt and shame. There was no, so like the very next night you cooked dinner at home, you know? So it was like, okay, this didn't go as planned, and we can continue to just beat our heads up against the wall, or we just get the McDonald's and then we just carry on the next day. And that's the point of true nutrition coaching, is that not everything is always going to be perfect, but that doesn't mean that that was Monday. Like, we're not throwing the whole rest of the week away just because one night was like cuckoo crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that that's a good kind of thing to remind, if someone's listening to this and they're struggling with that, it's getting away from that all or nothing mindset.
Yeah. And I think in the beginning, I'm sorry. I think in the beginning, I struggled with that. Like, that was huge for me, because everything that I do, like, in my mind, it's like 0 to 60. It's like nothing to perfect. And so in the beginning, like, I struggled with that so badly, because I'm like, this should be easy. I should be able to drink all the water. I should be able to just cook meals at home. Every other family does it in America and like all over the world. So why can't I do this?
Don't let her deceive you. She's a 0 to 120. Not 0 to 60.
She goes all the way.
All the way. If she can't get it perfect the first time, she doesn't want any part of it.
Yeah. But that's part of the learning and coaching, though, is because I do remember, Crystal, and we didn't talk about this, but, I remember I just said, let's just make hot dogs for dinner. Like, in the beginning, do you remember that? I was like, let's just have hot dogs and some chips and some carrots. And you're like, no, can't do it. You're like, I can't do it. And I'm like, just make a hot dog at home. And you're like, I can't. I'm like, you can, but that was like, we had to kind of go through that process for you to realize that it didn't have to be like this Pinterest meal.
Yeah.
Like, cooking at home some nights might be a hot dog, but we're balancing that out with the rest of the week and the rest of the day. And so if you want to talk a little bit about kind of like that domino effect of how that is truly where we started, was like, let's just make this as easy as possible for home, and then how it's grown from there.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, so tying back into what she said earlier about just starting with 3 meals a week, we thought that was impossible.
Yeah.
Like, with how busy we are, it felt impossible. And then I to this day have no idea what happened, but something just like clicked, and then we were eating at home 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it seemed like that, didn't it? Like, it just was like,
yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
See, and I think the thing was, it started with me, for sure. Like, I had to realize I don't have to have, like, this perfect Pinterest board of all of these, like, super healthy, super nutritious meals. Like, once I realized, I think one of our favorite meals that we've made recently is just meatballs and vegetables on a sheet pan. And, like, the old me would have been like, that's not good enough. Like, that doesn't look pretty. You can't take a picture of that and post it on Facebook.
Or it wasn't hard enough. It wasn't hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think once I realized that that was the case, and I could make it easier on myself, and it was okay if it was easy, it wasn't super hard, and it didn't take me hours, then being able to make meals before prayer, before leadership, before church on Wednesday night even, like, it started, and now we do have that domino effect where it's like, okay, that one fell, and all of a sudden, all these pieces started to fall into place, and it really, really helped. It worked so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked so good. And one thing, too, that we've done, just to kind of let other people understand, is that we look at exactly like, okay, you've got to be at church at this time. So we are not making something, long and drawn out that might just be like crock pot barbecue sliders, like, so we kind of line up, what your week looks like with what your meals look like, so that it's not a meal, oh, well, this is a sheet pan meal, which is easy, but that also takes 45 minutes. So we are not going to do that Wednesday night before church. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So lining those things up, I think, has been huge in allowing your brain to say how we manipulate the meals versus against your schedule.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was really hard because we were like, there's some weeks where we're literally at church like 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So being able to make and throw something in the crock pot or even have something from leftovers is super easy. As much as you don't like leftovers.
Yeah, I was going to say the leftovers is a huge thing too, because I have always disliked leftovers. Just always have. And now I've gotten to the point where I add it to my meals or my, like, for the week. This night we're for sure going to have leftovers, and I've gotten okay with it because the meals that we're having are still healthy. They're still good. And
it's not like spaghetti.
It's but even spaghetti, like I've gotten okay with even eating spaghetti as leftovers.
Sauce with turkey meat.
And that was always like my thing. I grew up in a big family, so we would have spaghetti. We would have like beef stroganoff, anything that you can make like a big pot of. And then we end up having it all week long, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to look at another bowl of spaghetti like for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But it's little changes like that have made this super successful, and I never thought that I could be, here. And so, yeah.
That's so good. And to your point too, that because we are talking a lot about meal planning and prepping, but you're not in the traditional sense of making a meal prep. Like, we're not having every week like 5 things. We might do that every now and then, but it's not something, it is not a structured, this is exactly how you have to do things. And if everybody follows this blueprint, they're going to be successful. It's very much tailored to what works for you.
Yeah.
Right. Like we still have not gotten down the whole pick a day and that's when we meal prep for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're still working for that for like maybe 1 meal or 2 if we split up.
Yeah.
But usually we do our meal prepping that day.
Yeah.
Like the day of the meal.
Mm-hmm.
So Marco, I'm going to talk about you for a little bit, because when we first started, I'm like, what are you eating for breakfast? You're like, the air from the motorcycle that I'm driving into work, right? I'm having air for breakfast. And so then I think it was about less than a month ago, we got on to do your one-on-one, and you were like, I ate breakfast this week, and it was just like, woo, because we were trying to really increase your protein intake. So I'll kind of back it up a little bit. We were trying to identify why you weren't getting good restful sleep.
Yeah.
You remember? So we were like, what's going on with the sleep? Why are you waking up so tired? And so we kind of traced back, and we thought, well, let's increase protein and see if increasing that protein starts to help with sleep. And so that was where we were driving towards. And I'll let you tell the story, but you went from eating air for breakfast to eating breakfast and eating breakfast with protein. So I'll let you talk just a little bit about that, because that was a big win.
Yeah, so at my job, like when I get to work, it's like I get there, punch in, and get to work. I don't have time to like sit down. I don't have a desk to sit down to be able to just have breakfast for like 5 minutes. And I'm not a morning person, so I can't set my alarm for 5 o'clock, get up an hour before I have to leave for work, have time to like, do my breakfast. I get up, get dressed, and I'm out the door, and mainly it's because I've been feeling so tired, but, I've also, like, I am a breakfast person, but it's usually like on the weekends. Like, I love having like my bowl of cereal on the weekends, but usually during the week, I don't eat until like maybe have a snack before lunch or until lunch. But now I've been taking your advice, and we've been getting those breakfast sandwiches, the high protein ones, and even having like protein cereal and granola. And like yesterday, I had a big bowl of granola with yogurt that I took with me to work. And now, because I did get changed in position at work, I do have a desk that I can sit down and maybe take like 5 minutes to quickly eat my breakfast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've been taking a breakfast sandwich to work with me that I heat up while I'm putting my hard hat and boots on. Yeah. And then I'll eat it on my way to the shop.
Yeah. But it's been like such a change, but you wanted that change. It wasn't like, okay, you got to eat breakfast. We got to do this. You're like, let's try it. And then you ended up. So we've increased your overall protein intake, and now your sleep's starting to improve from that.
It is, yes. I can tell from what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very sluggish, very just,
Groggy.
yeah, very groggy, and like the bed was just like holding on to me and didn't want to let me go. And I struggled so much to get up. But
Mm-hmm.
now, like, I'm still tired in the morning, who isn't, especially on Mondays.
Sure.
But I do feel easier to get up out of bed
Yeah.
than I did before.
I love
And
that.
it definitely was getting those protein numbers up.
And you thought you were doing pretty good, right? Before we started working together, you thought like nutrition was wasn't horrible,
Yeah.
right? You would have given yourself a pretty solid grade on it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wasn't eating healthy with the fast food that I was eating, but I thought that I was getting like decent nutrition. And honestly, I was never one to really look at nutrition labels.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was, oh, this looks good, I'm gonna eat this. The main thing that I would really look at on the labels was, does this cereal have enough fiber?
Yeah.
But now, like, I've learned from you that, look at the difference between the fat and the protein, and, how many calories protein has as
Mhm.
compared to fat.
Yeah.
And then also, like, what other things are in there.
I love this. It's so good. It's so good. And it's just come up naturally, just learning. And then with this, like with coaching, once you learn it, you're never going to forget it,
Yeah.
And so that's the investment too, is that the investment is obviously in yourself and in your family, but it's the investment in long-term growth, because with other programs, whatever they may be, you don't really learn anything, like I'll just use Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers, everything is points, right? And so when you quit Weight Watching, what's happened? Like I don't know what I'm eating here. I don't really understand what goes into it. But with what you guys are doing and where we use science-backed coaching, it's like, how to read the nutrition label. That, hey, I'm starting to feel like a little shaky, or I'm starting to feel cranky. Maybe I'm hungry. Maybe I need more protein. What kind, have I had any vegetables today? Those types of things. So you're able to navigate that a lot easier, and you will be able, this won't change, right? Like
Yeah.
these truths,
Yeah.
are
Well,
long-standing.
I can definitely say, like, you're not wrong about that, because before I started with you, I honestly had no, like, second thoughts about what I was eating, like, at all. If I want some chocolate covered raisins, I'll pour myself a nice big handful of chocolate covered raisins and eat them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, like, I'm really like, okay, does this have protein in it?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, how about this protein bar instead of a regular granola bar?
Mhm.
Or like, just those have like become like almost second nature to me. Now I'm questioning, like, okay, what would be a good snack for me to eat right now?
Mm-hmm. I love that. So good.
I think that's part of that domino effect that happens, because it gets you into that, like, that habit.
Mhm.
And then learning too that, like, if you want the chocolate covered raisins, like the portion control, right? Like, oh, let me
Yeah.
just see, or I'm going to have this with like a glass of milk, or, protein drink or something like that. Just balancing all that out so that you're not forfeiting the rest of your life or the foods that you enjoy. It's just, as we preach in all things, moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, moderating food was a big thing back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Something
And
that
you
we
still,
struggled with.
yeah. And you guys have church, like family nights and things like that.
Mhm.
Food is still available, and we're not at a place to where you're packing all the food that you take there. Like we're, again, because you have these skills, and so you know how to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're talking about maybe doing pizza for this month's family night.
Yeah.
Grab a protein drink to take with you.
Yeah,
Pop
Yeah.
into a salad on the side.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
too, with like doing youth, like you said, just how paying attention to what's in your food, how it affects the way that you are. Like with him with his sleep, I think both of our sleep has definitely improved. And but like we take the youth to our youth rallies one Friday a month, and afterwards it's always pizza or like
Quick
Taco Bell, or yeah, we have Quick Trip here in Wisconsin, so like that's always a huge staple. We have to go there at least twice.
Right.
Birthday once, but
Right? Never again. Never again. But then okay, we're not like super young anymore either. So staying up all night long with the youth, I mean, oh my gosh, we're like so tired the next day. But being able to pay attention to that, and at the last rally, like I allowed myself to have a slice or two of pizza.
Yeah.
But I paid attention like the whole day what I was eating to kind of plan for having that pizza that night. And I didn't feel super terrible the next morning. I wasn't feeling like super groggy like normal and tired, but
I have to say that I did not. I still have I still have my protein for the day and my lunch, but I'm usually still kind of weak in that area to where we go out for events and there's pizza, I'm going to eat pizza.
Yeah.
But that's something that I still have to work on for myself.
Sure. We all do. We all have areas to work on. We were talking about that just a while ago, Crystal, about how this relates to like faith. It's like as you continue to grow in this, and we grow in our spiritual disciplines, it gives us hope that if we're still growing in spiritual disciplines, that's a good thing too, to always be growing. You're never going to top out at spirituality, and you're never going to top out with nutrition and movement. It's one of these things where it's like, okay, this feels really good, so let's work on the next component, and just building on that and strengthening. If you see that you're falling weak in one, or haven't built that discipline yet, that you have the steps to strengthen it.
yeah.
So we'll wrap this up. We'll talk about it. We're going into the spring. You guys are in Wisconsin, so the snow is thawing. And I know we've talked a little bit about this, but a way that this has been, I think it's important for people listening, like a family venture, so to speak. Like you kind of hit on that the boys are like, hey, can we eat at home some more? And then like we've talked about in the springtime, some of our goals are like getting out on family walks. So how this, again, is a program, so to speak, that like, it's not just like mom has to have her own meal of this, and this is mom's meal, and you guys do whatever you're going to do. It's been a family dynamic change with that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Something that I actually I think I texted him this afternoon. About Michael. So he's our 12-year-old, and he is one of the pickiest little eaters. But he would have those moments where he would be like, Mom, I want a hot dog and whipped cream. And I'm like, no, that's gross. But Mom, you always tell me that I need to just try something and see if I like it.
Yeah, he like turning that around on us.
He would, and it would be like, we tried all of the time. Eat your meat, like eat your vegetables, eat this, eat that. All three of them are still kind of iffy about the cooked vegetables, which I'm okay with because they'll eat it raw. That's fine. But Michael was like, Mom, you got to try the meatloaf. Okay, this little boy would eat maybe a cheeseburger from McDonald's.
And
that's it. He would not eat a cheeseburger from home. He would not eat a cheeseburger from any other fast food place or any restaurant.
Chicken.
Yeah. And
Absolutely no meat.
And today I had texted him, I'm like, I don't hardly recognize this boy anymore because he's telling me that this meat is good.
Yeah.
And so
Without whipped cream.
Yes, without whipped cream.
Without whipped cream.
Yeah.
It's marshmallow fluff.
But with like things like that, it's amazing to see those changes. And even just since we started cooking at home,
Yeah.
we would make something, and I know you and I had so many conversations where it's like, if the boys are going to eat ramen, or the boys are going to eat like a ham and cheese sandwich or peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like, we're going to make our dinner, and like eventually it'll come with them. And it totally has. I mean, we'll make dinner, and
Michael's always, oh, can I have some? Can
Yeah.
I try some?
all the time. And even the other two, like, it's a little slower with them, but they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll try that, or I'll try a little, I'll just have a little taste.
Yeah.
So it is amazing to see how just the changes that we've made, how it is affecting them too, and to see the change in them is just even crazier.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, guys, thank you all so much for being on the podcast. First ones, I love it. And we will circle back around with you guys because we got walks planned for the spring. We got stuff coming up, and just more growing and learning and getting stronger. So anything you guys want to add as we wrap it up?
Do you want to add anything?
Well, it's a learning experience, that's for sure, but I think it's one that's well worth it, especially if you're trying to change your eating habits, your nutrition habits, your even trying to drink more water. It comes down to the very smallest minute little thing that if you don't have right, you're gonna feel it. And I think we've seen and we've learned a lot from what you've had to teach us and to show us, and we're very thankful.
I'm thankful for you.
Sure. I will add to something that I always, I put this on myself, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. Like, anyone out there can do it. If you think like counting calories or counting macros or meal prep, it's not for me, or that's not for me, or I weigh my food now, like, almost every single day. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, I promise. But also, the change in myself, my mood, just all of the things that have changed through this. I am a firm believer that if you want to be healthy, you really do have to pay attention to like what you're eating. A diet is a quick, let's just lose 10 pounds and then go on with my life.
Right.
But I've learned so much through working with you and like he said before, reading labels and stuff like that. Our bodies are the temple of God. So we really should be taking care of them like they are the temple of God. And it's the same, we don't say certain things, we don't watch certain things, we don't go certain places because, we're a child of God. Well, I think the things that we put in our body, it's the same thing. And I want to be able to, keep up with my kids when I'm 50, 60, 70 grandkids, in the future. While we're still youth leaders, I would love to be able to keep up just with the youth group.
Yeah.
So keeping myself healthy and keeping that mindset is huge.
Yeah. It's made a huge difference. Big mindset shift, confidence is up, and just and not waking up every couple of days and questioning what you're doing, or is this, I need to start this diet, or I need to start this. It's like, what I'm doing is working, and it doesn't, it's not taxing, it's not overwhelming, it's not, all of these things, and it's working, and you feel better. And like you said, I mean, this is the temple, and so we should do our best to try to take care of it as best we can.
Yeah. Well,
y'all are doing a fantastic job. I'm honored to coach you. I love watching you guys grow and see all that you do. And so kudos to y'all. You're doing a great job.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. It was
an
great.
honor to be your first for your podcast.
Yes. So exciting. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch up with you next time. See you later.